Hello, Biblical Geography, Lecture 8. Conquest and Settlement. There's some neat maps on this one. I like the 3D ones. Those are cool. Alright, hopefully this is a blessing to you. Yes, there's history involved, so we could call it geography and history. I'm trying to focus more on the geography part, but there is some history. I'm trying to make it easy. I really am. Brother Eric, I am. The books of Joshua and Judges tell the story of conquest and settlement. Joshua concentrates on the initial phase of the process, while Judges describes the struggle of the tribes to possess the land in the face of pressure from neighboring people. A careful reading of both books makes two things clear. First, the conquest of the land was not accomplished in one generation. The conquest was a process that extended over many generations and was not completed fully until the time of David and Solomon. David was the first king who ruled over a territory that included all the lands allotted to the tribes. For this reason, it is best to regard the period of the Judges as an extension of the settlement process. And second, the Israelites had a very difficult time extending the limits of their control out of the mountains into the plains and valleys. Out of the mountains and plains and valleys. No. Chariots gave the Canaanites a distinct advantage on flatlands. Oh, I see why. Moreover, Israel faced threats from other peoples, like the Philistines and the Moabites, as they attempted to expand their territorial limits. So let's look at the map here. Let's get used to it here. And I don't have the color codings, what that all means. So this is their land. Oh yeah, the colored areas, the shaded areas, are what they controlled. And there's different time periods, I think, and how they controlled that. So it went out a ways and up, even above Bashan there in the north. Of course, all the way to the Mediterranean, down into Egypt. And out into Lebanon, I think it is, Syria and Turkey. All right, the political complexion of the Levant. Where's the Levant?
Is that that's the strip of land connecting Egypt with?
Yeah. With, we'll say Syria and Mesopotamia. And so like that,
next to the
on the left side, Levo, left side of the Dead Sea, Jordan River, and the mountains. Once you get down into the kind of the beach area by the Mediterranean. Yeah, that section. Okay, very good, class. So the political corruption of the Levant was transformed in the period from 1200 to 1000. As the tribes of Israel appeared in the mountains of western Palestine, seeking to drive out the native population and possess the land, they were but one of many restless peoples on the move, seeking new territory. Without interference from a traditional great power, this period indeed was a time when every man did that which was right in his own eyes. People just taking over whatever they wanted to take over, and Israel, those folks, were involved with that. Now we got some campaigns in central Palestine. Let's look at this map briefly, and then we'll look at it again later. So there's the Mediterranean Sea to the left and up to the top. There's the Dead Sea down below. So you see where it's cut out at. There's some battles. Ai, the Amorites and Gibeonites, ambushes, Jericho falls. There's Jericho. You see Jericho? Mm-hmm. To the right and to the right. Yes. Libnah, Hebron, Debir, Lachish. Now a lot of these towns, if you look on a map today, won't have them listed because they changed the names. From Shittim in the plains of Moab, Joshua sent spies ahead to Jericho before crossing the Jordan, of course, and establishing the camp at Gilgal. Find Jericho on your map. Mm-hmm. There's Gilgal. See Gilgal, Gal? Camp is established there. All right. Jericho was a strategic oasis located near an important ford and Chevy dealership of the Jordan River. Near an important ford. What's a ford? Fjord.
Spot where you cross the river.
Okay. I think it means like a fork. So I thought it meant. Well, anyways, 3 routes led from Jericho up into the central highlands. Da, 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 da. If Jericho could be taken, The way into the mountains of Canaan lay open. So let's look at this a little closer there. Jericho would be taken. Oh, see the mountains to the left? Then the way of the mountains, and they had their main force there to the higher, a little bit north. The ambush force went lower. Where'd they go to? Well, I'm talking about Ai there. Jericho. Jericho falls, opening the way into Canaan, and attack at Ai. Oh, see down all the way to the right on the east side, Abel Shittim and Baal Peor. That's where Joshua sent the spies in. And they went into Jericho, right, and talked to who? Rahab. All right. They went back, and all was well. All right, going on. With the important oasis at Jericho in hand, Joshua faced the question of which of the several available routes leading up to the mountain should Israel take. More heavily traveled but dangerous route to Jerusalem? No. Southwestward to Bethlehem? Which one's that? Southwestward to Bethlehem. Where's Bethlehem at?
It's up above Earth.
Okay. Joshua chose the Wadi Makak. Turn the page. A route that led into the heart of the hill country near Bethel. With a small force, he attacked nearby Ai. Look at Ai, up by Bethel. But you know what happens there. You have their good friend, Achan. All right. So he had a small force, he did that, and it fell. They got clobbered. Although the initial attack failed in the sin of Achan, the tribes overcame the defenders of Ai and cleverly laid ambush. These victories gave Israel access to the heart of Canaan. So they went into there across the Jordan River into Jericho, walls came tumbling down. Went to Ai, lost the first one, but won the second one. Now they've got the valley there, and the mountains of Canaan land. Campaigns in the south. Joshua next engaged a coalition of 5 Amorite kings in a series of battles that took place in southern Canaan. Southern Canaan. Where's South Canaan land? I guess it's down south, yeah. Led by Adoni-Zedek, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon threatened the Hivite villages northwest of Jerusalem. Gibeon, Shephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. Aren't you glad that this is not in red? Probably in a real college they would have it in red, but since we're not a real one, we don't do that. Who had made a covenant with Israel. So they made a covenant with Israel. Sorry. Eglon threatened the Hivite villages northwest of Jerusalem, who had made a covenant with Israel. All right. Joshua interceded on behalf of the Gibeonites, remember that part? And attacked the Amorite coalition in the valley of Ahilon. Find that. Ahilon. Oh, on the other page, Matt, you can see it. Maybe that's where we're still at. Amorites flee to the valley of Ahilon, where sun stands still and hail kills many Amorites. See that on the top portion of that map we were just at? So they left Ai. There's Gibeon. There's Upper Beth Horon and Shephirah, Beth Shemesh, all those. Okay, so they go that way. All right, and it was where the sun stood still. A violent hailstorm killed more Amorites than Israelite swords on that day, as Israel's enemies fled southwest of the hills and valleys of Shephelah. Find Shephelah. South of Shephelah. I don't see Shephelah. Let's look at the other map. Where are we at here? Dead Sea, Shephelah. Jericho, Shephelah. I don't see Shephelah. Anyone find it on the other map? No?
That's it.
Okay, so, try and find these things. All 5 Amorite kings perished. Seizing the opportunity opened by this great victory, Joshua captured several cities in Shephelah. Libnah, Lachish, and Eglon. Find those.
Shephelah is a large word right under the Mediterranean Sea in the 3D one.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
like a
yeah.
big area.
Yeah, there you go. There's Ekron, Gezer, yeah, Libnah, Lachish, Eglon. See where those little red dots or whatever color they are? Yeah, there's this battle line where he took over places. All right, good, thank you. So all that was referring back to the previous map. And before continuing on to Hebron, Debir, and villages in the Negev. All right, let's go to the new map. The northern campaigns. A final thrust to the north against a Canaanite coalition headed by Jabin, king of Hazor, concluded the campaigns of Joshua. What do you got to know that part? It was a Canaanite coalition headed by Jabin, king of Hazor, a thrust to the north. Hazor formerly had been the greatest of Canaanite city-states. Let's find Hazor on there. Someone find it and point it out for us. It was on our previous map still. Hazor, oh Hazor, where are you, dear Hazor? Online student, you find that already? I can't hear you. If you found it, why don't you tell us?
It's north of the Sea of Galilee, just below.
Oh yeah, north of the Sea of Galilee by Lake Hula. So this is where the final thrust was. It was the greatest of Canaanite city-states. Really doesn't look that great to me, but I guess it was. It still possessed formidable strength with a population estimated at 40,000. Her huge defensive earth embankments crowned with high walls defied attack. Joshua surprised the larger Canaanite force in the highlands of the upper Galilee by the waters of Merom. Caught where chariots gave them no advantage, the Canaanite army was routed. Survivors fled northward towards Sidon. Where's Sidon? I don't see it there.
Well, Merom is kind of south and west of Hazor.
Yeah, I don't see it, so it must be higher up then. But Israelite contingents overtook them. Returning to Hazor, Joshua attacked the city and burned it. Signs of a great conflagration, dated to the late 13th century at Hazor, apparently marked the victory. Hazor, so know that was the final battle of Joshua's big battles, and there was 31 kings he killed. Joshua's accomplishments. How are we to understand these battles? Certainly these campaigns did not remove the Canaanite menace from the land. Deborah and others struggled against the Canaanites in years following. Not all the cities found in the western mountains came under Israelite control as a result of Joshua's victories. Look at the western mountains. So it will be to the right of the Jordan River. Jerusalem remained a pagan enclave until the time of David. Find Jerusalem on the map. By the Dead Sea to the left. Top of the Dead Sea to the left. Joshua 13 provides a description of the land yet to be conquered at the end of Joshua's campaigns. The fertile fields of the coastal plain, the Jezreel Valley, the Beth Shan region, as well as other pockets of land remained in non-Israelite hands. So where's this Jezreel Valley? Let's find Jezreel maybe. Right. Let's find something else that we don't see down. Coastal plain, Beth Shan region.
Issachar,
What's that?
in the blue shaded area called Issachar, just southwest of the Sea of Galilee.
Oh yeah, there we go, there's Jezreel, so that must be the Jezreel Valley, and then it should be a coastal plain, probably near the coast, yeah. Alright. Yet God had given the tribes a home in the mountains of western Palestine through Joshua's leadership. The tribes settled, for the most part, on sparsely settled lands lying between the population centers. As we close, yikes! Ho, ho, ho! Look at that map. This is hard to put some of these together because there's like 13 pages of information, and I got to splice out stuff to make it palatable. The book of Joshua recounts the division of the land of Canaan among the tribes of Israel as they settled in the land. I think we know that. The descriptions of the tribal allotments contain two types of information: boundary descriptions and lists of cities. Now, judges are raised up, and so God raised up judges to deliver the repentant tribes from the oppressors. We have Othniel. Who else? Ehud, Deborah, Gideon, Jephthah, and Samson. They were the major judges. And there's 6 others that are minor judges. So know the major judges. Let's look at this map. Look where they ruled at. Shamgar. We'll go from top to bottom. Then Elon. Gideon. Jair. Look at Jephthah out in the middle of the mountains there. Tola. Other mountains. Abdon. Ehud. Deborah. By Bethel there. Okay. Ibzan. Samson there at Zorah. And Othniel way down south. You know, when I read the Bible, I have no clue that this is where it's at, but it might do me well to look at Bible maps when I read it. And this may encourage you to, when you read historical stuff in the Old and New Testament, to refer to some Bible maps just to get a mental picture of it. It will help you. So not a lot of red in this. Okay, real quick review. Of course, we know what the books of Joshua and Judges tell, the story of conquest and settlement. And the conquest was a process that extended over many generations, and it wasn't fully completed until the time of David and Solomon. Jericho was a strategic oasis located near an important fjord, the Jordan River. If Jericho could be taken, the way into the mountains of Canaan lay open. Next page. And at the end of his big attacks, Joshua had a final thrust in the north against the Canaanite coalition headed by Jabin, king of Hazor. Concluded it all. Hazor formerly had been the greatest of the Canaanite city-states. Jerusalem remained a pagan enclave until the time of David. And let's name the 6 major judges. Othniel, Ehud, Deborah, Gideon, Jephthah, and Samson. All right, take a break.